Good morning, friends. I hope everyone is doing well. I request everyone to watch my videos in a sequence for better understanding. If you really like my videos, please press the like button, share the videos with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and also press the bell button to get the regular updates. In this video, I want to discuss about IP version 4 header format. Okay, now it has these following fields. First, it consists of version, which is a 4 bits. See, here I have represented 4, 4, 8, all are in terms of bits. So you have a version which consists of 4 bits, header length is 4 bits, type of service is 8 bits, and you have total length which is 16 bits. Then we have an identification for 16 bits. We have 3 flags. The first flag is initially always kept as 0, and you have a don't fragment field, and you have a most fragment field, and you have a fragment offset which is of 13 bits again. We have time to live which is 8 bits, protocol field is 8 bits, header checksum is 16 bits. You have a source IP address which is even called as a logical address of IPV4, which is a 32-bit address. Similarly, you have a destination IP address which is 32-bit. You have options from 0 to 40 bytes. Here only it is bytes, and finally you have a data. Now let me discuss what is the use of each field in IPv4 header format. Now if you have a version is a 4-bit number. Now which versions we are right now using? IP version 4 and IP version 6. Okay, if it is IP version 4, the number will be written as 010. Okay, if it is version 6, it will be written as 0110. So these 4 bits will be useful for us to inform which version you are using. Okay, whether you are using IP version 4 or whether you are using IP version 6. Coming to the header length, which is the 4-bit number. Okay, as it is a 4-bit number, you can represent a maximum number is 4 ones. Am I right? In a 4 bits, I can maximum represent 4 ones. Now what is the decimal number for 4 ones? If I convert it, I will get 15. Am I right? So highest number you can represent is 15. Okay, then I will discuss what you have to do it if it is header length. What it will actually tell the header length is what is the size of the header. If you see that we have 2 things here. One is that this complete information will tell about the header, and this is your actual data. Am I right? So if you see this one, this is how many bytes? This is 4 plus 8, which is 16. 16 plus 16, 32 bits are there. 32 bits is nothing but 4 bytes. Am I right? Similarly, if you see 16 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 13, which is again 32 bits, so it is 4 bytes. 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 16 is 32. So again it is 4 bytes. Obviously, the source IP address is 4 bytes. Destination IP address is 4 bytes. If option can be vary from 0 to 40 bytes. If option is 0, then the total header length will be 20 bytes. If options are 40 bytes, then how much it will be? 4 5s are 20 plus 40, which will be 60 bytes. Am I right or wrong? So it can be 20 to 60. Is it clear? Now, what is the header length is saying? It is saying the total length of the header. Now you can ask me, sir, in header length you have only 4 bits information is there. We using 4 bits, I can represent maximum decimal number is 15. But how I can represent 60? So now what you will do is that if you have 60, then you will divide by 4. If you divide 60 by 4, can you tell me what you will get? You will get 15. So you will keep 15 here. 4 1. So meaning is that whatever the actual length of the header, that header you will divide by 4 and then you will represent in the header length. Suppose if it is 20 bytes. Okay, 20 by 4 is how much? Is 5. So the header length will be 5 here. What is the 4-bit representation for 5? 0, 1, 0, 1. So always you will divide by 4 and then you will represent in the header length field. Now you can ask me the question, sir, if it is exactly divisible by 4, then it is okay. Just now you have discussed 20 bytes which is exactly divisible by 4, you have represented. And 60 also is exactly divisible by 4, you have represented. Let me take that it is 30 bytes header length. Is it possible? Yes. This is 20. If I keep here 10 bytes in the option, then the total length of the header will be 30. Now if I divide 30 by 4, which will be how much? Can you tell me? 7.5. So can I represent 7.5, which is a floating point number? Floating point number can I represent in 4 bits? No, it is not possible. Is it clear? Are you able to understand? So we need a what you call the floating point representation, whether it is IEEE, a single precision or double precision, we cannot represent in 4 bits. Are you able to understand it or not? So floating point representation I cannot represent in 4 bits. Then what I have to do? Can you guess? If I keep 7 value here, then instead of that 7.5, if I take 7, then it will be 28 bytes. But actually header length is 30 bytes. Are you able to understand? If I take here, the header length will become 32, but actual length is 30 here. So what we should do? We will do the padding. 2 bytes of information will be padded in the options. So instead of 10 bytes, we will take 12 bytes in the options. Then total length will become 32 bytes. Then we can divide by 4. Are you able to understand? If it is not divisible by 4, then you will do the padding in the options field. Is it clear? Are you able to understand? So if I do padding, then 30 plus 2, 32. So 32 by 4, which will be 8. So you will write the header field as 1, 0, 0, 0. Are you able to understand it or not? So you should remember that point. If the header length is some x, you will make it x by 4 and it will represent in the header length field. Okay. Now what is the type of service? The type of service, the packets can have low delay, high throughput, required reliability. All this kind of information will be provided in the type of service field. And coming to the total length, it will tell the length of the packet including the data. Are you able to understand what header length is saying? It is talking about only the header up to the options, but it is not telling the length of the data also. But coming to the total length, it will tell the total length including the header. Then you can ask me, sir, you are telling the total length will tell the header length plus data. Now we know already the header length. Am I right? Then if I subtract header and header, I will get the actual data. Am I right or wrong? Because total length you are saying that, which is a 16 bits, which will tell the length of the header plus data. Already I know the header length. Okay. So if I subtract, I will get the actual size of the data which is there in the packet. Are you able to understand? So that is the use of the total length. Now you can ask me the question, sir, as it is a 16 bit, what is the maximum number I can keep? 16 ones I can keep. If I keep 16 ones, the decimal number if I convert 2 power 16 minus 1, which is equal to 65,535. Am I right? 65,535 bytes I can keep. Is it clear? Are you able to understand it or not? So out of that one, if I remove the minimum length of the header is 20 bytes, so I can keep the data as 65,515 bytes of data I can keep in the data field. Are you able to understand it or not? Let me discuss again. The total length field is 16 bits. If you keep 16 ones, maximum you can keep 16 ones only. So 16 ones means 2 power 16 minus 1, which is equal to 65,535 bytes. As you already know that the minimum length of the header is 20 bytes. Why? If I keep options as 0, then the minimum length of the header field will become 20 bytes. So if I remove 20 bytes from it, the data you are sending as 65,515 bytes, maximum data you can send using the IPv4 header format. Are you able to understand it or not? And let me discuss what is the identification. The identification will be useful for you to identify the datagrams or packets. So each packet or a datagram will have a identification number which is unique. Okay, are you able to understand? So that is the use of the identification bit. Now you have a 0. Obviously, what is the use of 0 means they kept 0 for reserved. And what is DF means don't fragment. As in when I am discussing about the functionalities of the network layer, I said we will do the fragmentation. When we will do the fragmentation, when we are sending the packet from one network to another network and between you have another network. So this is a network N1, this is network N2, this is network N3. Now each network will have MTU field. MTU is nothing but maximum transmission unit, MTU. Okay, MTU is maximum transmission unit in the network. Let's take that in network A you have a station A, in network N3 you have a station B. Now this information has to pass using the network 2. Okay, now let's take that MTU of this one is 100 bytes. Are you able to follow it or not? Okay, but this station is able to sending 500 bytes of information. Means the packet size MTU is 500 bytes. So it can send a packet of maximum size is 500 bytes. So if this packet is coming with 500 bytes, but 500 bytes of information cannot go through this network, then what you have to do? You have to divide the packet into 5 packets. So 500 bytes of packet we will divide into packet 1 consists of 100 bytes, packet 2 again 100 bytes, like that you will divide. This division we will call it as a fragmentation, means one packet you are making into small packets so that it can be sent by the intermediate network. Is it clear? So this concept we will call it as a fragmentation. Now you can ask me what is this DF is. DF means don't fragment. Are you able to understand? DF means don't fragment. Now if it is not fragment, what will happen? Suppose in a packet of 500 bytes, you have kept the DF bit as 1, because DF is a 1-bit information. 1-bit information means either it can be a 1 or it can be a 0. If it is 1, meaning is that you are saying that this packet should not be fragmented. If you kept it as 0, then you are allowing the packet to be fragmented. Are you able to understand? Let's take that this is a 500 bytes of information you are sending and you have enabled don't fragment bit as 1. Then meaning is that this 500 bytes should be sent as it is. It should not be fragmented. But intermediate network should do the fragmentation because the MTU of that intermediate network N2 in our previous example 100 bytes. So it cannot send 500 bytes of information exactly in a single packet. So then what network 2 will do? I cannot send the packet of 500 bytes. I can send only maximum of 100 bytes and you are saying that don't fragment. So network 2 will not forward the packet. Are you able to follow it or not? So it will drop the packet. So that is the use of the don't fragment bit. And you have more fragment bits. This will be useful for you to when you are reassembling the fragmented bits, because let's take that packet P is fragmented into P1, P2, P3 like that, P4, P5. Now at the receiver again they have to reassemble, means again they have to make it as a single packet. So that time we will use this more fragment bit. Okay, are you able to understand it or not? When I am discussing about the fragmentation concept, I will discuss about what is the use of the more fragment. But however, it will be useful when you are doing the fragmentation. Even the fragment offset also, which is a 13 bits, I will discuss much about the fragment offset and more fragment when I am discussing the fragmentation. And you have a time to live, which is a 8-bit information. You can ask me what is the use of the time to live. Time to live will be useful, even we can write it in shortcut TTL. Okay, time to live, which is a 8-bit information. What is the use of this one? If the source has created a packet and there is a destination is there, the packet has to traverse from source to destination. Now time to live will tell how much time the packet should be there in the network. Once the time is expired, the packet will be dropped from the network. Are you able to understand? When it is a token ring, when the packet is forwarded and again reach to the source is dropping the packet. Are you able to understand? However, in these networks, if the destination is not in a range of the source and source is still sending, it will keep a timeout timer. Once the timeout timer is expired, the packet will be dropped. And let me discuss another way also how the time to live will be used. Even time to live consists of hops also. Let's take that you have a source, you have a router R1, you have a router R2, you have a router R3, and you have the destination. Let's take the TTL value, I have kept it as 2. Time to live, I kept 2. Meaning is that it can reach maximum 2 hops. So what I will do? Initially TTL is equal to 2. When I forward the packet to router R1, it will become 1. When I forward the packet to R2, it will become 0. From R2, you cannot send the packet to R3. In R2 itself, you have to drop the packet. Router R2 will receive the packet and then it will drop, because the time to live packet is become expired. Meaning is that it can go up to the source as informed the time to live should be 2. The meaning is that once it expires, it becomes 0, you have to drop that packet. Let's take that time to live is equal to some 5. Okay, means source has kept the TTL value as equal to 5. When it reaches to R1, it will become 4. When it reaches to R2, it will become 3. When it reaches to R3, it will become 2. And at the destination, it will become 1. Are you able to understand? So destination will receive the packet. So this is the use of the time to live. Okay, it avoids the packet to go in a loop. Okay, and the protocol, which protocol you are using? Again, let me discuss where this IP we are using in the network layer. In the network layer, if you see that we have a IP and we have ICMP and IZMP. And at the transport layer, you can use either TCP or UDP protocols. Am I right or wrong? These are the protocols we will use at the network layer, and TCP, UDP you will use at the transport layer. So what protocol you are using with the help of IP, that will be discussed here in the protocol field. Are you able to understand whether you are using ICMP with IP, IZMP with IP, or TCP with IP, UDP with IP? Which protocol you are using will be described here. And you have a header checksum. What is the use of the checksum? To detect the errors. Now you can ask me, sir, detect the errors of the data. When you are discussing about the error correction and error detection mechanisms, you said that source want to send the information. Am I right? To detect whether the information is correctly received or not by the destination, because in the transmission medium the data can be corrupted. To identify whether the receiver has received the correct information or wrong information, we used some parity bits or redundant bits to detect the error. Am I right or wrong? So even I have discussed what is the checksum there. Is it clear? So how we were doing the checksum there? We will perform the ones complement. Suppose if I have decimal number 4, decimal number 4, decimal number 4, meaning is that they are represented in binary. Obviously when you are sending the packets, it will be in the binary format. So what you will do, you will compute the ones complement addition between all of them. Instead of avoid writing like this, let me write 1 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 like that. So this is 8 8 8. Then you will perform the ones complement addition with all these things. Whatever the result you will get, you will compute the ones complement of it. Okay, are you able to understand? First you will perform the ones complement addition of all these things, and then whatever the result you will get, you perform the ones complement again. Then you will get a negative number. So let me tell you simply, it is 8 8 8. So you make it 8 plus 8 plus 8. Well, how much it will be? 24. So you will keep minus 24. At the receiver, he will perform the addition of 8, 8, 8 and also 24. Then what value he will get? 0. Then the receiver will understand that there is no errors. If any bit is modified, the result will not become 0. Then the receiver will identify that there is an error in the packet. So then you can ask me one doubt. Sir, usually you are saying that the checksum will be useful for detecting the errors in the data. But why it is called as a header checksum? Why it should not be called as a checksum or a data checksum? We will not perform the checksum for the data. Okay, we will perform the checksum only for the header, because at the receive, if you see that just now I have discussed an example. Source has a time to live value as 5 and it is going to R1 and it is going to R2. Now, whenever it is going to R1, it will update its value as 4, TTL value. R2, it will update it as 3. Now, every time the router has to modify this value. Initially, source has kept the value 5. Now, each intermediate router has to update this value. So, whenever they are updating, if you are calculating the checksum even for the data whose size is maximum 65,515 bytes. So this much information, again you have to perform checksum. To overcome the problem or to reduce the burden on the router, they just calculated the checksum on the header only, not on the data. Okay, are you able to understand? So that's why it is called as header checksum. If you still have any doubts related to the checksum process, I have created a separate video on checksum and I discussed it properly with few examples. You can watch that video. Now, what is the source IP address? As you know that each device in the network, if it wants to transfer the data, it should have a logical address which is a 32-bit information. So whatever the source it is sending, his IP address will be kept to whom it has to send. Whether it is a unicasting, then you will have a unicast address. If it is a direct broadcast, then you will have a directed broadcast address in the destination IP. If it is a limited broadcast, then the limited broadcast address will be kept in the destination. Is it clear? Now you have the options which will be useful for like record the route. Like if you have a packets are going from source to router R1, router R2, then destination, this entire information will be recorded. Or sometimes source only will tell strict source routing, means source only will tell the information has to pass or this data has to pass using the specified routers. In between, routers should not use their intelligence. Source itself is computing the complete path and it is specifying in the option. So this packet will go according to the information provided in the option. So here you can have a record route and you can have a strict source routing. All this information will be provided in the option field and you have the actual data which maximum is 65,515 bytes. I hope you have understood about the IP version 4 frame format. If you still have any doubts related to this one, you can ask me in the comment section. I will try to clear your doubts in less than 24 hours. In the next video, I will discuss about the fragmentation, how we can do the fragmentation and how we can use the more fragment field and fragment offset. Okay, if you really like my teaching and my efforts, please press the like button, share the videos with your friends, subscribe to my channel and also press the bell button to get the regular updates. Thank you for watching my video. Have a nice day.